Kanaka, and welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, before we commence with our program proper, just a few announcements to take note of, so please can I have your attention. Firstly, a kind request. You have your mobile phones. I know you have some very important phone calls that you're expecting or you'd like to make. We kindly request that you can switch your mobile phones right now to silent or vibrate mode, please. Next, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick overview of our program this morning. Our formalities will commence with the arrival of our key addressee. That'll be followed by a traditional protocol ceremony. I will be inviting the traditional protocol party in very, very shortly. The ceremony will be accorded to the Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, while I understand that for many of you, you may want to get a little closer to the front because that will be held here. However, protocol dictates that throughout our traditional ceremony, we kindly request that you remain seated at this time and if we can observe silence. However, our friends from the media will be the only ones moving at this time outside of the pillar. Ladies and gentlemen, our entire program today is streamed live streaming on the Untitled website, and we have two cameras, one here to my left and one just around the middle. So kind request that if you're moving around, please avoid moving in front of your cameras as much as possible. With the traditional protocol party, once they take their seats here, we request that we don't move in front of them at any point. Following the traditional protocol presentation, we will have the speeches by the Governor of the Fiji, also Governor Whiteside, ladies and gentlemen, followed by Governor Ndulu, Executive Director Alfred Hannig. We also have a short video presentation and, of course, the address by our Singh. At the end of this address, we will proceed to conclude our formalities. Of course, we're ringing of the gong, and then that will conclude our formalities this morning. We have a photo session for all the heads of delegation on the formal party, followed by morning tea. Ladies and gentlemen, to help you understand and appreciate the significance of the Fijian ceremonies of welcome, please allow me to explain very briefly. Those involved in the ceremonies of welcome are seated on the floor or on the ground, as it would be disrespectful for them to raise themselves above the guests. The performance of the traditional Fijian ceremonies of welcome is marked by the strict observance of silence by those in attendance. Only the performers are allowed to speak. It is this solemn atmosphere of silence that accords them dignity and evokes the passionate concentration and emotions with which they are accorded. Within the Fijian cultural matrix, these ceremonies provide occasions that enable the community to feel together and communicate together with a spiritual environment of which the people believe they are a part. The words that are spoken in their presentations seek the blessings and power of their mythical and spiritual gods, to bestow richness on their land and the surroundings, seas to bring goodwill and friendship, brighten the weather and improve their harvest, to forge peace amongst nations, and to protect them from evil forces. In these ceremonies, the guests and the people are generously blessed. These ceremonies of welcome indeed embody the warmth with which the Fijian leaders and their people welcome their honored guests. These ceremonies follow an orderly sequence from an assurance before landing that the honored guests are welcome, to the provision on shore of food, drink, and entertainment to help make the visit pleasant and memorable. I now invite the traditional protocol party to come forward. Ladies and gentlemen, our protocol ceremony will be conducted in the Itauke language and will not be translated. I hope I've provided you with enough information with regards to what will be happening and what it signifies. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Fiji, Rear Admiral Josaia Voreqe Bainimarama.
Tama, rua tolu. Dua.
Oi. Wain na agora turanga lamba.
Jangan tere sage bibo karete di otoro.
Naka.
Bibo ka memori na matentu. Na matentu bilu tagi wa republic ni lenda matentu lo mani gobiti utanga rotuma. Ina lengu bonua, lengu delna bo momo e na tena. Endra materi na momo na roti.
Wah, oi.
Misanga tuleri na limu ko ba momo. Ina delni bonu e denarau ina roro bina di buah. Leri gina matuni bonu agime tuberi rigi goto. Mi umata ina singini gua. Ina bakar roro batanga na pinto kai. Ina bilang iti ke bakar dunia tu na afi Global Policy Forum. Harus afi bakar dugu tiga ina limuru ono bo mamu inandi na gendel na bunaba tulebu ndra matar mamu na tuinandi aro mai bagai tabi tegi niru na emuru bono ibunda eru mai bagai dunia ele na daga ni bilang iti bo bono bo itogei ibege mu ina le mu mendola beri goto na bose ina vidana ngau na sa nagitu itu mata ina singini gua
Naka bina saka.
ina bukan nui ina mai rebo bina ina gilin rame bitako na Ora na kopa na nibi mbake, nabi mate ni tuara le sureti. Arasano ina lemu bono ibiti na singini gua. Tara sara kotonga ina dale muniga le rogo bi kale tokai. Na lemu itutu ba lulu ni mate ni tu. Usa andra bi kale bu ina bidana ngau na sauti, me me ado bi na lemu me bi tebita ni muri. Ina roro bina ni gua. Mumsa nui bukan nui, ni muna tambage na batu ni bonua. Ile la so eri go tele na ngona, na isi buse buka momo.
Naka saka.
Batu ri ni bonua sate ingalo bi buka momo. Delne wo mo kiwa ina lengu delne wo na tena ndra matana mo na roti kiwa
Naka saka.
ina matani tu ibe muri na limu tu wa liulu ni matani tu ni tagi ni mo na tambage na tabu batanga na kaya ngona tara wote na dale ni binto kai na roro bina ni wa Utambagay na alo pinay na alo baka momo. Sa tele mo iwatagari ko tanaga bitu tungara budambe. Iye buen raw. Ina matalitu ina legudel na obo momo ina tiana ina matana momo roti kiwa. Iwo na momo na lili matalitu na lenda bono lomani biti. Naga mutinere mo matakatu.
Mana jadi. Wa kadiba sakana kamunanga na watu ni wanu na ingalangalo bi bakaturanga. Kamunanga na iwari tagi sakana sebu-sebu. Wain bonua. Sa ser baturanga sa cuma na bonua na batu lebu. Nonda kamunanga sakana ngone turana tuinanji. Sa kamunanga sa tal cunga ni bonua. Nonda kamunanga sakana ngone turana tuibunda. Kena biokani maindo batana sini kuwa singa talei. Labi kena kamunanga na batu ni bonua. Sa zambe saka cuma na matentu na ngone turana prime minister. Ngubal lebu sakana natia na bersan ngone turanga na rok tukiba. Pinaba lebu na bilangi cina bibaka turanga taki. Somboni saka cuma ni kuwa buru-bura. Maindo bata saka cuma kena langi cuma na talei nonda bonua kena bakarau. Ni bibaka turanga taki. Ni bilangi sama labi sakina kena kamunanga. Au salah bikilangi buana kelumbula mengai sombu sana nonda bibaka kelunga tataki. Ni kelunga ta sautu saka cuma bonua. Sautu bata na kena biokani. Tumbu saka cuma kena bilomani. Rau binaka saka cuma ina kinaki. Ni bidana singa satu matanda. Kelunga saka cuma na leo ni matambosi. Kelunga saka cuma na liu ni matentu na lingi ni vingra ni matentu. Tumbu saka cuma na lotu mana. Indi na ubura amundo. Amundo. Sa bakar kota cuma kamunanga na ngona saka lebu kau cak. Ndaka saka lebu.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the traditional protocol ceremony. I invite the ladies from the Reserve Bank of Fiji to come forward to garland our guests on stage. Thank you. The Honorable Prime Minister of Fiji, the Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Governors, AFI members, partners, respected senior government officials, ladies and gentlemen, it is our great pleasure to welcome you to the Alliance for Financial Inclusion Global Policy Forum 2016 here in Nadi, Fiji Islands. In Fiji, we're honored to be able to host you, and we hope that you're enjoying your time with us so far. The Alliance for Financial Inclusion Global Policy Forum is the annual meeting of its members and partners, and today we have more than 500 participants from more than 80 countries all gathered here to discuss financial inclusion through this year's theme, Building the Pillars for Sustainable Inclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, to deliver his welcome remarks, please welcome the Governor of the Reserve Bank of Fiji, Mr. Barry Whiteside.
Bula. Bula. I noticed the locals mumbling, but the overseas visitors have got it now. So we will adopt you as Fijians. The Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Fiji, Josaia, Voreqe, Bainimarama, Honorable Ministers, Excellencies and members of the Diplomatic Corps, Governor Benno, Ndulu, AFI Board Chairman, Mr. Alfred, Hannig, AFI Executive Director, fellow governors, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Isambula Vinaka, and a very good morning to you all. It is with the greatest pleasure that I welcome you all to the 2016 Alliance for Financial Inclusion Global Policy Forum here on the wonderful Admiral Island. The Reserve Bank of Fiji, with the support of the Pacific Islands Regional Initiative, is privileged and deeply honored to co-host the 8th Annual Global Policy Forum, and we acknowledge AFI for choosing Fiji as the venue of this first ever gathering of our alliance in the South Pacific. To have before us such an esteemed group of people dedicated to the common goal of providing effective access to financial services and products to help the financially excluded population of our world gives me a feeling of great pride. I thank you for taking time to come to Fiji from across the world and look forward to many stimulating discussions that will bring forth innovative and creative ideas on how we can achieve our inclusion agenda. I acknowledge and thank the chiefs and people of Vunda for the moving traditional ceremony of welcome. Vinaka vakalevu, kina vunua ko Vunda, Vengarangiravi Vakaturanga. I take this time to sincerely thank our Honourable Prime Minister for gracing this important event. Sir, your presence demonstrates the seriousness that the government of Fiji places on financial inclusion and the role of the financial sector in our nation's economic development agenda. Our National Financial Inclusion Task Force was deeply honoured when you accepted to be our financial inclusion champion. I also acknowledge the presence here today of a number of our senior ministers and members of cabinet. We are honoured by the support you provide to our goals of inclusiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, our success in driving financial inclusion here in Fiji over the past 6 years has primarily been due to what I can only describe as a model of teamwork. This model is pivotal on collaboration, partnership, and the passion to achieve common goals and objectives. It embodies teamwork amongst key stakeholders from the private and public sectors, government and non-government organizations, civil society, and donor development partners, all working together for a common purpose with what some refer to as the convening power of the Reserve Bank. It is definitely not normal when you have traditionally competing groups of institutions like the banks, insurers, mobile network operators, all withdrawing their competitive talons and bottom line thinking to work together towards a common goal, which for us is providing that particular service and hand up that will help lift the lives of our excluded and take them to a better place. Our model is embraced in the form of a National Financial Inclusion Task Force with 4 working groups directed towards key focus areas of financial inclusion development, which include financial literacy, products and services, data, and inclusive insurance. The support we have had on our journey is reflected in the great sponsorship list, which you may have noted on the banner outside of this venue. And I do take this time to acknowledge all our stakeholders and sponsors. Vinaka vakalevu to you all. I am pleased to say that similar models of cooperation have been adopted throughout our Pacific Islands Regional Initiative member countries. Collectively as PIRI, these qualities are strongly evident with collaboration, partnership, and passion now driving our PIRI goals and objectives, along with the convening leadership of AFI. This drive has strengthened relationships amongst our member countries, and we are working together on many fronts of financial inclusion. I welcome my fellow PIRI governors from Timor-Leste, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, Tonga, and Samoa, who are all with us here today. Though we are spread east to west over 7,000 kilometers of ocean, ours is a bond that grows stronger over time, and our knowledge sharing, I feel, is second to none in AFI. Our PIRI relationship will be shared with you over the next 2 days through discussion, culture, song, and dance. I urge you to visit the PIRI wall just outside this conference center. I hope you will enjoy what we of the Pacific have to give. And if some of you get carried away and wish to join the dancers, we won't mind at all. Also, do take the opportunity for photos and selfies with our Pacific models and warriors. Sharing is the Pacific way and what we are all about. Ladies and gentlemen, over the course of the next 2 days, you will hear more of Fiji's financial inclusion journey so I will not hold the floor much longer. Suffice to say, at this time, we were excited to launch our second 5-year National Financial Inclusion Strategic Plan just last July, and that we will be making new commitments under the Maya Accord during this GPF. High on this agenda for Fiji will be our commitment to gender equality in financial inclusion, and this will be further highlighted in the proposed Denarau Action Plan. I do urge you to wake up early on Friday to take in the first morning session, which will run you through the Fiji financial inclusion story in a once-off production by some of our premier award-winning local performers belonging to the Oceania Dance Theatre and Pacifica Voices. This will be the only time that this performance will be done, so please don't miss it. Friday evening's Pacific Night is also something you should not miss. I will not let out any secrets, so we will just leave it at that. Clearly, we still have much to do before tomorrow evening, but I can assure you that it will be something to look forward to. I wish us all 2 days of great deliberations and sharing. Thank you for your kind attention and vinaka vakalevu.
Vinaka vakalevu, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, to deliver the opening remarks, please welcome the Governor of the Bank of Tanzania and Chair of the AFI Board, Mr. Benno Ndulu.
Bula. The Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Fiji, Honorable Ministers, AFI Executive Director, Dr. Alfred Hannig, our dear host, Governor Barry White of the Reserve Bank of Fiji, fellow governors, fellow members of AFI Network, AFI partners, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I'm grateful to be able to welcome you to our 8th Alliance for Financial Inclusion Global Policy Forum. This is our first GPF as an independent organization, and I'm told the largest GPF that our alliance has ever held. I recall AFI's first GPF, where I had the distinct honor of delivering the keynote address. We were then a small gathering charged with determination to take the journey. We have thus far seen great progress along the way and in addressing the barriers of financial inclusion. And the journey continues with better prospects. I wish to extend my profound appreciation to our host, the Reserve Bank of Fiji, for their great hospitality in hosting us in this beautiful, pristine paradise. I'm certain that under the warm welcome of the Fiji sun, the coming days will find us engaged in inspired discussion and debate. I would also like to take a moment to appreciate the AFI management team for their support and their continuing effort to make each GPF the premier event for financial inclusion. And to our members, partners, and distinguished guests, we thank you for the journeys you have taken, both short and long, to be here for the 2016 GPF. Your support and commitment to our alliance is demonstrated by your presence. Thank you. Honorable Prime Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, we are grateful to our members who, through their dedicated commitment and support, have made this possible. We also recognize the efforts of the board committees and staff of the AFI Management Unit who have worked tirelessly to ensure we reached our independence goal. I would also like to acknowledge our strategic partners who have supported us through our journey. These include our funding partners, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the German Ministry of Finance, the Omidyar Network, and most recently the Government of Canada through its International Development Research Center. Just as importantly, I wish to thank our partners from the private sector who have been participating in the public-private dialogue platform to leverage knowledge sharing on innovative solutions for financial inclusion. These include MasterCard Foundation, Visa, Leshego, and GSMA. Honorable Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, this year's theme of building the pillars of sustainable financial inclusion continues the tradition of GPF as a forum to showcase the benefits of AFI's unique cooperation platform. The GPF is an opportunity to form key action agenda that will help to shape financial inclusion policy formulation using lessons learned from our membership, partners, stakeholders, and distinguished experts. Together, we can demonstrate the benefits of sustainable financial inclusion through implementation of smart policies that address the challenges of ensuring a balance of access, usage, and quality. AFI's cooperation model remains at the core of our work. It is the common thread that will enable our alliance to make a difference in the lives of the world's 2 billion who remain unbanked. Now, as a fully independent organization, the 2016 GPF represents an opportunity to leverage on this cooperative approach. Already, we are a part of the Global Implementing Partners for Financial Inclusion, and we are working with other international organizations to spur the global financial inclusion agenda. We have shared our collective voice with global partners and with multilateral organizations such as the standard-setting bodies. And over the years, support and recognition for financial inclusion has grown very significantly. In that light, we are happy to see that the Addis Ababa Action Plan gave AFI a mandate to use peer learning and knowledge sharing to spur financial inclusion globally. Likewise, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are well aligned with our activities. The international community has recognized something that we in AFI have known for a long time. That financial inclusion is a cross-cutting global issue with the potential to make a positive impact on the lives of billions. AFI core services already support 16 of the 17 SDGs, and I'm confident that we will have a significant impact on the success of these goals. But when it comes to commitments and goals, AFI members are already leading the way. Through the principles and commitments of the Maya Declaration, we have seen incredible financial inclusion progress from across our network. The Maya Declaration has been instrumental in the development of many national financial inclusion strategies. And this commitment platform will be further enhanced to increase its impact and maintain its significance as an invaluable tool for advancing smart financial inclusion policy. Honorable Prime Minister, look around this room. We have gathered here the very best experiences, ideas, innovations, and solutions for financial inclusion. I will therefore encourage all of us over the next 2 days to take advantage of the opportunity that GPF provides. By engaging, sharing, and working together, we will continue to successfully address the challenges of access to formal financial services, and in so doing, create a more inclusive and prosperous world. AFI is ready now and in a much better position to take on new challenges. However, this comes with responsibilities which we are also ready to shoulder. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Executive Director, Alliance for Financial Inclusion, to deliver his opening remarks, Mr. Alfred Hannig.
Bula. Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Josaia, Voreqe, Bainimarama, Honorable Ministers, Governors, Deputy Governors, Deputy Ministers, dear members and partners, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AFI's 8th Global Policy Forum, the 8th Forum of the Alliance for Financial Inclusion. Now, for the first time, the Alliance has come to the Pacific. And perhaps this is also time for me to share with you a bit of a personal background, why I'm personally very excited to be here. You know, when I was a little boy, maybe I've not talked about this up to now, we were actually quite poor at home. My father had passed away at a very early stage, and I was living alone with my mother in the city of Hamburg. And I got extremely interested in geography. So when I saw geography books, I always ended up with pictures of the Pacific Islands. But this book was not enough, so I traveled around in Hamburg and I checked on other schools because they had other geography books. So I checked other books, and of course I always went to the chapters of the Pacific Islands. And Fiji seemed to stick to my mind because maybe it's the name which is easy to remember, but this was a lot for me at that time, a little bit like paradise, where someone would like to go, but at that stage, when we actually had very little money, it seemed to be unreachable. At that time, I actually never thought about the opportunity to climb on a plane, to be honest. Now, Governor Barry Whiteside, you have brought us here, and I'm personally very grateful to finally see what I only could see through these books. And I also would like to thank our chair of the board, Governor Ndulu, who is guiding us on this journey. Now, talking about Fiji, of course, also provokes the question, where do we go next, right? And of course, we can only tell you tomorrow. However, I just would like to say one thing. Fiji, or the South Pacific, and the place where we are going to go next year, they have something in common. No, it's not about beaches, it's not about palm trees. Although the place where we go might even have beaches and palm trees. Many places have that. But the person or the people who will get the place where we are going, through this commonality I'm talking about, I will make sure that this person will get one of the next AFI Policy Awards. So please come to me and speak to me bilaterally, and let's see whether you get it. But it's a difficult one. But we will, of course, reveal it tomorrow. Now, this GPF is a big one. As Governor said, 537 participants, 73 member institutions, 6 potential institutions, and 190 individuals from our partners. So this is very impressive. And the theme, I think, in a way reflects the long journey we have taken to come here, because we are talking about 8 pillars of financial inclusion. Now, these 8 pillars: consumer empowerment, gender, financial inclusion data, partnerships, SME finance, green finance, technology and innovation, and de-risking and re-risking. These 8 pillars, I think, are the foundation for the theme of sustainable financial inclusion, which is the theme for this meeting. And I do understand that, Honorable Prime Minister, that you yourself have been very engaged in the topic on green finance, as you are one of the first ones, or the first country, among the first ones who have signed the Paris Accord. So I do understand that environmental finance is a very important topic in your countries. This topic, I think, also shows us very well, very nicely, that financial inclusion indeed has moved from the fringes, from the fringes to the mainstream, from the margins to the mainstream of the economic development debate. And it also reflects the broader development agenda the Governor Ndulu alluded to. Now, this is the first time the Alliance comes here as an independent organization, a truly global platform where everyone can cooperate. And I think the key word here is partnerships. If we really want to live up to our ambitions, which is to become a policy leadership alliance, we can't do it alone as policymakers and regulators. We need to mobilize these partnerships. And I think we have the energy and the people in the room to do so. Partnerships will help us to achieve our objectives. A couple of words, a couple of recognitions at this stage. The funders who are with us, Gates Foundation, Omidia, the German Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, and the most recent funder, the Canadian government, through IDRC, we are very grateful to your support, for your support, Omidia, Gates, BMZ, and IDRC. But I would also like, again, to mention the GIZ, who has incubated AFI as a project and given us the foundation in terms of organization and administration that helped us, in fact, to gain the confidence not only of the funders but also of the members who are now funding the core budget of this organization. There are also the development partners, apparently. We have World Bank around, CIGAP, UN organizations, many others, and the civil society organizations who are engaged in the financial inclusion agenda. And, of course, our private sector partners who are here, and they have been mentioned, especially the ones who are supporting the public-private dialogue platform, and who we are grateful to because they also help us even to fund this great event. But first and foremost, of course, our members who are here to drive this agenda, and Reserve Bank of Fiji, and I think also the other PIRI members from the Pacific have done quite a bit to make this happen. So thank you very much for putting all these resources into this event. And having said this, of course, I also would like to thank the ministers and the government of Fiji for their support. Now, this GBF will bring a couple of new things to you. We will also celebrate another anniversary, which is the 5th year or
5 years of Maya Declaration. 5 years of commitments which are bottom-up, country-driven, based on own plans and strategic frameworks. A framework which has so far attracted 60 member institutions, and there will be a couple of more announcements which you will hear tomorrow. And we are going to broaden the Maya Declaration. We have heard a couple of times that perhaps Maya Declaration should also be opened to other partners to endorse these commitments, even maybe make additional commitments. So I think AFI is open to invite others also to deliver their promises under this framework. Now, I think another innovation in this Global Policy Forum will be the gender roadmap, which is going to be endorsed by the membership, which is the action plan on women's financial inclusion under the able leadership of Dr. Tukia from Bank of Zambia. We will also see an introduction of a fourth dimension of financial inclusion, data and measurement, which is in fact the dimension of impact. Up to now we have started to measure access, usage and quality. We are now also looking at impact, and the Financial Inclusion Data Working Group is doing a great job, I think, in this regard. Now, we will also publish the de-risking paper, which falls under the pillar of de-risking, re-risking. But I would like to say, and I had a conversation with the governor this morning, re-risking does not mean that you members are not looking at these risks. I think the challenges with all the technological innovations out there are even higher to better understand what we find in the fintech world and how we can properly regulate and supervise it with a progressive approach under this agenda of financial inclusion. We will also enter a new phase of the public-private dialogue platform. And we had a very stimulating discussion yesterday where we, I think, will also see what the platform can do in order to give more guidance to ongoing in-country implementations on financial inclusion. I also would like to mention the launching of the new website. So you will see AFI has a new website, a new face, which comes with a new organization. So hopefully you like this new appearance of AFI on the web. Finally, yesterday's AGM, I think, made a couple of very important decisions. I think we strengthened our governance, we nominated and also ratified the committee members of the board, but also of the 3 committees, and we also, I think, agreed on the amendment of the Articles of Association of the organization, which I think now gives us a very strong foundation as a well-governed organization. But this is, of course, almost like a living document because there are so many challenges along the way that we have perhaps to make some amendments again at some point. But of course, we would like to see this as a stable document, and so please help us to drive this forward. Now, before I leave this place now, I should perhaps also say a few words of thanks to the previous chairs of AFI, because they have driven us through this journey, right, from Nairobi to Nadi. So there's Professor Ndulu, who is also with us. There is Nestor Espinilla from the Central Bank of the Philippines. And there is Professor Daniel Skidlowski, who is also with us. So we also are grateful for your leadership and guidance. Now, my own journey looked like, as I said, reaching or trying to reach the unreachable. I think this forum perhaps can help us to make the next step to reach what also seemed for us to be unreachable in the past years, which is full financial inclusion. I hope that we can get closer, and I'm very sure that all of you will make a contribution to make this happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special video from the co-founder of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. For our official party on stage, you'll get to view this video presentation in the monitor in front of you. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I draw your attention to the screens. Melinda Gates.
It's great to address this distinguished audience today. As you know, 2016 has been a big year for the Alliance. Independence now gives you a strong mandate to promote the regulations and policies that will make economies more inclusive and more just. Economies that include everyone, benefit everyone, especially women. Women in many of the developing countries I visit tell me how much having control over their assets and earnings changes their lives. And it not only empowers them to lift themselves out of poverty, the benefits extend to their families, their communities, and their countries. I've seen it for myself. It's transformative. That's why I'm passionate about reducing the gender gap in financial services. So I'm pleased the Alliance is taking concrete steps to address the fact that too many women in too many countries have a much harder time getting a bank account. I also applaud the Alliance members who are beginning to look at their financial data by gender. This is an important way to understand where and why women are left behind and how to change that. Your insights and leadership are essential if we're going to keep financial inclusion top of the agenda. Increasingly, that requires you to embrace a wider range of partners because collaboration and dialogue are critical to achieve the bold goals we've set. There's a lot of work ahead, but the rewards are great for all of us, and I'm confident that the organizations assembled here are up to the challenge. By continuing to share your knowledge and experiences, AFI will remain a unique force in the global movement for financial inclusion. Thank you, and keep up the good work.
Ladies and gentlemen, to introduce our keynote addressee this morning, please welcome once again the Governor of the Reserve Bank of Fiji, Mr. Barry Whiteside.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasant duty and honor to introduce our Prime Minister. The Honourable Josaia Voreqe Bainimarama has been Prime Minister since 2006. Under his leadership and vision, Fiji has undergone a broad program of social, economic, electoral and constitutional reforms, leading up to the elections in September of 2014. Since assuming office, he has helped establish a common national identity for all Fijians, promoting unity and equality. The Prime Minister has been instrumental in improving the delivery of basic services such as free education and a smart Fiji policy, bus fare subsidies, access to clean water, electricity, roads, affordable mobile and internet services, and improved health services. He also, at the outset, committed to removing corruption that has plagued Fiji in the past and to generating jobs for every Fijian. Fiji now has a new constitution that enshrines many of these reforms and which, for the first time, guarantees social and economic rights, such as the right to clean water, affordable housing, adequate transportation, and economic participation. As I noted earlier in my welcome address, we were humbled when Mr. Bainimarama accepted to be our financial inclusion champion. Assisting the poor to lift themselves out of poverty was certainly not new to him. The Prime Minister was born in Suva, our capital city, and was educated at Morris Brothers High School, a highly competitive center of education and great traditional rival of my own school, which was located not too far away. I am proud to be of the same generation and to have shared that competitive spirit many years ago. Mr. Bainimarama enlisted in the Royal Fiji Military Forces Naval Division as an ordinary seaman in 1975 and was commissioned from the ranks as an ensign in 1977. He held the position of Commander of the Royal Fiji Military Forces for 15 years and retired from the military in 2014 after 39 years of service. Prime Minister, sir, we are privileged to have you address the forum. Nakavakleo.
Turana mo na butulebu, turana tuinanti. Na chiku na ngun turana tuibu na ba bimna walebu na wikinta pa kibu turana ba bono me kinta pa chikina na matambose na mataniko. Na sabalebu na bilangiti. Na sabalebu na biba turana taki. Ramai ba turana taki sachukin na nanda bulangi. Chico sangai nampose na matani ko. Mbula. I understand this is one of the larger forums that we're hosting or we've hosted. Over 540 participants, I understand, from 81 countries. Some years back, I was invited to address a forum such as this, and where they had handed out a little booklet on Fiji, and it talked about our customs, traditions, and of course the interpretation of our languages, Mbula and Vinaka, of course our traditional food and Sulu, one I'm wearing this morning. And as I came in through the door, I addressed everyone and I said, Mbula. But as I came up the steps, I tripped. And it was going to be a very embarrassing moment for me because I had a Sulu on. And I just managed to balance myself. And from a corner of the room, somebody yelled out, Mbula. And from another corner, someone said, welcome. I found out later on that they were not our guests. They were locals. Some friends I have. The Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Economy, Honorable Ministers, the Governor of the Reserve Bank of Fiji, the Secretary General of UNESCO, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the Chairman of the Board of the Alliance for Financial Inclusion, the AFI Executive Director, governors and distinguished members of the forum, ladies and gentlemen, Bula. Bula Vinaka, and a very good morning to you all. It is a great honor for Fiji to co-host the 8th Annual AFI Global Policy Forum, the first meeting of the Alliance to be convened in the South Pacific. And on behalf of every Fijian, welcome to our nation and welcome to Ndenarau. I want to say how proud we are to host such a distinguished gathering of financial experts from around the world. And I salute you for working together to empower the estimated 2 billion people worldwide who are currently excluded from the mainstream financial system. Thank you for being advocates for bringing them in from the margins and striving to give them access to finance. Just yesterday, the Fijian people celebrated our very first Constitution Day at our brand new Albert Park Pavilion in Suva, our capital. And in that Constitution, we have, for the first time, a Bill of Rights which guarantees socio-economic rights, including the right to economic participation, to education, to health, shelter, just minimum wages, transportation, and other rights designed to keep our citizens in the fold of economic development. Our Constitution makes it even more incumbent on my government or any other future Fijian government to ensure that our economic development is driven by our commitment to financial inclusion and bringing all of our citizens into the mainstream. We are determined to leave no one behind on our journey forward as a nation, and are conscious more than ever of our responsibilities to the more vulnerable among us, our women, our children, the low-income earners, the elderly, the sick, and the disabled. That commitment to our marginalized groups is matched by my government's firm belief in the free market. The notion that the most enterprising of our people should be given every incentive to work as hard as they can to benefit themselves. Because in doing so, they are able to spread their wealth to others by reinvesting in our economy and creating jobs. That is why Fiji has some of the lowest taxes, corporate and personal, in the Pacific, plus a range of incentives for our own people and foreigners to invest in our economy. I encourage all of you who are visiting us to examine the benefits of investing in Fiji and to take the message home that we are open for business. As well as our low taxes and the incentives we offer, we have a business-friendly regulatory framework, a stable political environment, strict adherence to and maintenance of law and order, and an educated English-speaking workforce. We are also in the throes of the longest running period of the economic growth in our history, 7 straight years of expansion. So the opportunities in Fiji have never been better. A small but thriving nation at the hub of the Pacific with advanced communications, easy access to surrounding countries, steadily improving infrastructure, including our sea and airports, roads, and access to water and electricity, and a range of quality Fijian-made products and services that are steadily penetrating markets throughout the world. We also have a solid foundation of financial services and products in Fiji, and I'd like to take some time to discuss the critical role that commercial banks play in expanding the reach of these services. In Fiji, we used to have a 100% Fijian-owned bank, but due to excesses of past governments and lack of good governance, it unfortunately went under and was sold off to foreign interests. But today, I'm happy to say that we again have a fully fledged bank that is entirely Fijian-owned. Now, whether a bank is owned by domestic or foreign interests, banks operating in any country must promote financial inclusion. Central banks and reserve banks must advocate and work to ensure that the cost of banking services is not prohibitive to low-income families. And that is where our regulators play a very important role. Our interchange network payments on National Switch Bill, which is currently before Parliament, will provide a regulated, centralized environment for using ATMs and point-of-sale machines that aims to reduce the cost of electronic transactions and give not only banks but all other entities conducting large transactions incentive to participate in the national switch. For example, our Itauke Land Trust Board, which administers land on behalf of different land-owning units, can disperse lease funds through the national switch to all individual recipients in the respective land-owning units. Similarly, our social welfare recipients will also be able to directly access funds through the national switch, thereby reducing the current fees and charges. It is in the best interest of every Fijian consumer that we introduce regulation in our financial system to foster competition at the top and bottom ends of the market. Another example lies in the collation and reporting of those who access credit. Such activity must occur under an appropriate regulatory framework. As we previously saw in Fiji, there was no regulation, and only one company was operating in the industry. The rules of the game were not clear, and this segment in the financial system lacked transparency. So we introduced new laws regulating those providing reporting services. As a result, we have greater interest from overseas companies and have ended the unfair reporting of credit histories that disproportionately affected those lower on the socio-economic spectrum or who are not part of the elite. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, truly inclusive financial systems can only develop when a nation has appropriate national framework in place. In Fiji's case, we have a green growth framework which encourages the sustainable development of our limited natural resources. We also have a trade policy framework, which is our strategy for our trade relations. We are also currently formulating our 20-year national development plan, and I'm proud to report that Fiji has embarked on its second National Financial Inclusion Strategic Plan. Our target for the current period, between now and 2020, is to improve accessibility to financial services from the current 65% of all adults to 85%. 50% of this increase is improving access for women. Of course, we have to also confront the challenges of climate change. In Fiji, we have already relocated 3 villages to higher ground, with more to follow. So access to green climate funds and a focus on adaptation are key for Fiji and other low-lying countries with negligible levels of carbon emissions that find themselves on the forefront of climate-related disasters. Many of you who haven't ventured too far beyond Ndulu might find it hard to believe that less than 7 months ago, we were struck by the biggest tropical cyclone ever to make landfall in the southern hemisphere. Cyclone Winston killed 44 of our people and left us with a damage bill of more than $1.4 billion, or around 30% of our GDP. Cyclone Winston's devastation showed us that it is those on the margins of society, those who are vulnerable, those who are unbanked, those who are uninsured, were those who were the most affected. The effects of climate change have shed light on the forces of regression, where the most marginalized among us are trapped in a constant cycle of rebuilding and are trapped in poverty as a result. As part of our recovery efforts, we launched a Help for Homes initiative, whereby the equivalent of an ATM card or M-Paisa was given to those Fijians who were affected to purchase hardware materials to rebuild their homes. This has given many Fijians a chance to become more comfortable with electronic transactions. So through what are unquestionably unfortunate circumstances, we can still create opportunities to give people access to new technologies. We can still make financial inclusion a priority. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, I want to close by thanking you for the work the Alliance for Financial Inclusion is doing to assist us, along with other stakeholders. It is a pleasure to have you all in Fiji, and I hope you can all make time to see something of our country, our culture, and to experience our world-famous hospitality. I also look forward to meeting as many of you as possible and have the great pleasure to now declare this important forum open. I thank you. God bless you all.
Vinakapakalevu, sir. It is the Global Policy Forum's tradition to ring the gong to officially open the forum. This gong on the stage has traveled a long way, starting from Bali, Indonesia, to Mexico, South Africa, Malaysia, all the way to Trinidad and Tobago, Maputo, Mozambique, and now here with us in sunny, beautiful Nandi, Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite the official party on stage to come forward to ring the gong to officially open. This, ladies and gentlemen, is true Fijian hospitality. Please, another round of applause. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We now officially open the 2016 Alliance for Financial Inclusion, a Global Policy Forum here in Fiji. Another round of applause for our official party. Thank you so much. We invite you to take your seats one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our formalities. To thank our keynote addressee and all our speakers this morning. Just a few things. Immediately after this, we invite the official party on stage, as well as the Honorable Attorney General, the Honorable Cabinet Ministers, and heads of delegation to make their way to the front of the Sheraton for the official photographs. The chairs have already been placed, so we'll try not to cut into your morning tea. Take a seat, we'll get all the media there, take a quick picture, you enjoy your morning tea. All the other delegates, ladies and gentlemen, you're very welcome to enjoy morning tea. You can proceed there immediately. We also have some cultural performances from the Pacific Islands Regional Initiative for you to enjoy. And a quick reminder, please listen out for the lali. Once you hear that, we invite you back in to proceed with our next session. Thank you so much. Enjoy your morning tea. Thank you for your attention.